Very good morning and welcome everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, the next session day 2 is going to take place. Thank you very much for joining us for a 2-day webinar on the topic of impact of communication on career. I, Dr. Gaurav Jain, Professor, Department of Computer Science, Deepshikha Group, greet you with my co-moderator, Dr. Reema Singh. She is Professor and HOD, Department of Management, Deepshikha Group. I consider it a great honor, and we are very honored to have Chairman Sir, Dr. Prem Surana Sir, Vice Chairman Sir, Dr. Anshu Surana Sir, Principal of colleges, teaching and non-teaching staff members, our expert, Dr. Praveena Nair ma'am, and so many participants. Friends, you can also watch live streaming of this webinar on the Facebook page of University of Technology, Deepshikha and Regional College. This is our holy tradition to remember God before any important event. So let's have Deep Vandana, Deep Jyoti Vandana.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तु ते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च मतिं स्वच्छां हि मे सदा रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठेत् गृहे दीपः तस्य नास्ति दरिद्रता शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
You will be glad to know that the University of Technology, in association with Regional College and Deepshikha Group, is going to organize a 2-day live webinar on the topic of impact of communication on career. Yesterday's Yesterday's session was highly informative, instructive, and communicative. As expert or key speaker, Dr. Praveena Nair ma'am shared the views and ideas concerning the impact of communication on career and the role of English language in creating the path of success. On the second day, in continuation of the series of day 1, a mock session on the importance of effective communication will be conducted. Friends, we got very good response in yesterday's session from the audience with more than 3,500 registrations. Students and interested candidates who participate will receive an e-certificate for attending the session. Deepshikha is a platform for world-class technical education that India is proud of. Deepshikha family is making untiring efforts not from today, but as early as 1976 to deliver a platform that becomes the ground for mission-based education that has a variety of learning industrial exposure with the right environment that is conducive to overall development of the student fraternity. University of Technology is sponsored by the renowned level in the education tournament, Deepshikha Sansthan Jaipur. University of Technology is approved by University Grants Commission, Bar Council of India, and Pharmacy Council of India, and member of Association of Indian Universities, AIU. University of Technology got collaborations, MOUs, and awards. National Pedagogic Council, next MOU with Cambridge University. University, University of Technology and all its associated campuses take pride in this landmark partnership and association with Cambridge Language Assessment, CLA, a division of Cambridge University. University of Technology takes pride in being the first campus to partner with Cambridge Language Assessment in Jaipur and offer the best in language skilling to its students. Next, MOU with Quantum Activism Visualium, Red Hat Academy, Oracle Academy, MOU with Dot Squires, MOU with Pyramid Spiritual Science Academy. We have Regional College for Education, Research and Technology, established in 2003, is a premier institute for engineering and technical studies promoted by Deepshikha Sansthan, which is pioneer in technical education since 1976. Regional College is approved by All India Council for Technical Education, Ministry of HRD, and affiliated to Rajasthan Technical University, Kota. The Regional College offers BTech, MTech, MCA, and MBA program. Much recognition that Regional College boasts a few are world record in largest assembly of 1100 robots in telepathy robotics. Record created by Regional College, maintained under Deepshikha Sansthan. Friends, join us live with highly experienced Dr. Praveena Nair ma'am. She is currently working as Center Head, Cambridge Language Assessment, Kerala, partner and COO Twin Business Solutions, LLP, Kerala. Ma'am, Deepshikha Group welcomes you. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you on behalf of University of Technology, Regional College, and Deepshikha Group. Ma'am, cheerful welcome and warm welcome once again. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, Gaurav sir. Am I clear? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. A very, very warm morning to all you wonderful people out there, and thank you so much for joining in once again on the second day in continuation of our webinars which started yesterday on communication. I'm really, really thankful to all of you for being here and taking your time out. This is an indication as to how much you love us, how much you want to be with us. Now, before I begin my session, I really want to thank each of you. Sorry, Gaurav sir.
Ma'am, your presence brings us joy, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It won't be possible without the love that all you people give.
Dr. Rima Singh, ma'am, co-moderator and professor in the Department of Management, to proceed further.
Sure.
Good morning to all of you. I express gratitude to you, sir, for such valuable words and agreed with sir that we believe in holistic approach and provide quality education platform that fulfill every aspect of society. It's give me immense pleasure to go ahead on this couple of day of webinar series that is based on the impact of communication on career. We are very proud to inform you that we have received more than 3,500 registrations for this webinar series. I'm glad to inform you that the participants are not only from India, belongs to all over world. We are really privileged to welcome all the participants. On the behalf of Deepshikha family, I, Dr. Rima Singh, extend a very sincere welcome to all of you. I'm pleased to say that the distinguished guest has honored us with her presence today as the excellent expert of our webinar session is Ms. Praveena Nair ma'am. She is Center Head, Cambridge Language Assessment, Kerala. She is also a partner and COO, Tran Business Solution, Kerala. She has an experience of more than 19 years of skill enhancement, business English, and soft skills, not only students of India across the boundary also. In continuation of study webinar series, I'm extremely privileged to have the opportunity to heard leaders and respectfully welcome Honorable and enthusiastic Chairman Sri Prem Surana Sir, creative, inventive, and having excellent leadership skills, Dr. Ansu Surana Sir, Dr. Ansi Paharia Sir, Vice Chairman of University of Technology, Dr. Rita West, Director, Education Department, respected all the principals, my colleague, young researcher, and all distinguished attendees on 2 days online webinar series, Impact of Communication on Career by University of Technology with Regional College and Deepshikha College with Association of Cambridge Language Assessment. On this webinar mock series, I would like to appreciate the fact that University of Technology has developed the use of e-course materials and video lectures, as well as competitive exam application and provided them through the ARP to more than 10,000 case students. The university has also collaborated with TRAN, a Center for a Cambridge Language Assessment, a part of a Cambridge University, for enhancing communication skill through online business English certification course. Here, I would like to update you regarding 10 days business English online certification course by University of Technology together with TRAN, Center for a Cambridge Language Assessment, a part of a Cambridge University. We have association with a Cambridge University with the help of one of the MOU and take pride in this landmark partnership and association with the Cambridge Language Assessment. The main objective of this course will encourage participants to upgrade their communication skill and set their inhibition and negativity, identify, build and improve their professional image, enhance awareness towards one's role in the organization, overcome the barrier in communication. The main purpose of this online certification business English course is to create awareness of one's current presentation skills and practice and develop effective skills for presentation. Understand the importance of communication types, developing effective verbal communication, importance of grooming and etiquettes and cross-culture communication. The main outcomes from this course to develop confidence through proper body language, to develop enhanced communication skills and structure and arrange the presentation's content to deliver key messages. The main curriculum, which is designed for this skilling enhancement programs, which offers a hand-holding support through an interactive and immersive learning experience by trained mentor with exceptional subject knowledge and teaching experience. A very comprehensive module on all areas of life and corporate skilling and the nonsense related with a communicative effectiveness are covered through a specially designed curriculum based on a Cambridge Business English certification based content for a skill at work. The duration for this program is mainly designed for only 30 hours and the schedule for this language is 3 hours per day, designed for only 10 days. This is whole about the structure of the curriculum. Now I just want to explain the steps through which you can register yourself in our University of Technology for this course. For this course, you have to register and follow following steps. In first step, just log in through https://bit.ly/ut-new-fees. Just log in yourself to enroll yourself in this program by this link, which is displayed on a screen board. In second step, just fill all the required details, which is mandatory for the student. If student belong to out of India, just put your passport number instead of Aadhaar number, right? For third step, you just select the School of Humanities, Social Science and Fine Arts, especially for this course, Certification in Business English. After that, you just follow the next step, choose method of payment. You can select through Challan or online payment gateway. And after that, fill the fees amount and proceed for a payment. After successful payment, send the details of payment to a particular number. This is all about the steps of the how to you are going to enroll yourself for this particular program, Certification in Business English, which is associated with a Trine Business Solution, association of a Cambridge University. Now, I would like to welcome to very innovative and admirable Ms. Praveena Nair ma'am to share her views to today's session, webinar session. Welcome, ma'am.
Very good morning, ma'am, and thank you for that amazing introduction by your team. I am so happy and so glad, people, that we are meeting again for a second day in a row with regards to this webinar on communicative effectiveness. Now, before I start my session, people, I have to really come out there. If possible, I could have come out there and hugged each of you for the love you have given us for the webinar yesterday. We got tons and tons of inquiries on, ma'am, how to join the program and how to enroll ourselves, which is exactly why we had Dr. Rima explain the whole steps to you. But let me tell you, people, this is an amazing inspiration for us that so many of you came forward to be a part of this program. I'm really thankful from the bottom of my heart. And trust me, yes, this program will definitely make an impact on your career and in your personality holistically, right? Now, before I start with my program, I would just like to share the link once again that you can actually go through. Yes, so people, once again, I would like to, I'm sorry, technology, so it goes haywire once in a while, we're all getting used to this online thing, and I disappear and vanish once in a way because I pressed something which I should not have. Okay, so we have put down the link again for all of you to go through. This is exactly where you need to register. That is the link for the benefit of people who were asking me that question yesterday, and what is the amount payable? Now, people, another question was asked of me that, ma'am, when we go out seeking this program, we have understood that you have to spend between 15 to 19,000 rupees on this whole program, this kind of a module, that too coming from a topmost university in the world. How come you are charging so less? Well, let me tell you, people, this program has been specifically designed for you. And the reason why we are charging so less is, I would like to go back and thank University of Technology, Dr. Anshul Surana, who has come up with this whole program. And he understands that we are all going through a pandemic. Children are facing a lot of problem with payments and things like that. So he was like, he wants that the entire community benefits from this, but at the same time, we should not tax people with too much of a price, So all that is being charged for this whole program, including training and assessment, is 3,800 rupees, which is almost less than $50. You can see what is subsidized, what a small budget this whole wonderful program is being offered to you at. So go ahead, Make the best of it. Feel happy that you have such a wonderful program coming to you at such a small price. So go take the benefit, grab the opportunity, go out there, register. For all the people who asked me for the registration details and the amount, I think you have a clarity now. So you can go ahead, register yourself there. Now, people, another thing I want to tell you is a lot of people also ask me, ma'am, what is the kind of curriculum we're going to cover in this? Okay, it's business communication, but what does it encompass? What are the things that are going to be covered? So we have covered that. We have tried to put it in our next slide. I want all of you to have a look at the modules that we have here. Yes, this is exactly what the course curriculum would cover, and we've also put the exact number of hours that this program would cover. You have email writing, report writing, presentation skill, corporate etiquettes, business etiquettes, email etiquettes, appropriate use of language. What are the terms you should use when you speak to people? What are the things you should not say? Team building exercises, how do you plan yourself, how do you plan your corporate day, how do you manage stress, which is definitely going to be a part of your life when you start working, or otherwise also how do you manage your time, what are the inputs, what are the cues, what are the tips that would help you to manage all those things, how do you use language appropriately and in what situation, how do you do all those things, how do you go attend an interview, how do you create a CV, how do you present yourself when you go for an interview. All those aspects which are going to impact your work life, your career, would get covered in this particular module that we are going to offer you. Do you see how comprehensive the whole syllabus is? There is nothing that has been left to chance. No, everything has been put in a capsule for you within those 30 sessions 30 hours that you're going to spend with us. And trust me, people, these 30 hours probably would be the most crucial, the most important 30 hours of your life. So I would say invest in yourself. This is not a cost, it is an investment. Invest in yourself and go rock the world, rock your workplace, go do the best you can with all those skills that you're going to carry with you by the time our pandemic and our lockdown gets over. So you prepare yourself for that amazing future that is waiting out there for you. Don't let a second person take the cake away from you. It has to be yours. And to make it yours, ensure that you build on all those skills that we're going to talk about, and we're going to help you build. All right. So people, this is an overview of the kind of modules that would be covered. Of course, for each session that we go with during the flow, will have an extension of all these topics that we have mentioned there. So all the best, people. I hope to see you in my classroom very, very soon. And we will take it on from there. All the sessions, let me tell you, people, would have a whole lot of audiovisual support. And of course, you will have a whole lot of interaction. How do you learn a language if you don't interact, right? So all our sessions, every session that you're going to be a part of, is going to be very, very interactive. We give all our students an opportunity to voice their opinion, to express themselves, and of course, better their prospects. Now, coming back to the fact, yesterday there were a lot of questions based on grammar and those things. Those are not things I'm going to dwell too much on today. I would dwell more on corporate etiquettes. How do you behave in an organization? How do you behave in an official environment is what I would talk about in detail. But before I get on to that, there were certain very critical questions which were asked. I would just like to quickly touch upon those and move on, right? Now, one thing people ask us is, why do we find it very difficult to speak English? What is it in English that, is missing that we don't have? So I'll go back to my webinar of yesterday, where I did very, voraciously mention that these are three things which our language, our regional language, is missing, which is why we find it very difficult to learn English. So trust me, English, just like our language, is just another language. Anybody can do it, right? But these are things, these are areas which concern us or which challenge us sometimes, because we don't have it in our regional language. And what are those areas? We have the articles, like I told you, a and the. We don't have it in Hindi, we don't have it in Malayalam, we don't have it in our regional language. So that's one big thing that is missing. The second thing which is not there in our language, our regional language, is preposition. Things like on, in, at, by, between, above, underneath, all those things they're there in a subtle form, but not very clearly put out or highlighted as being prepositions. So that's another area of challenge. Like I told you, we get confused as to what should come where. Where is it in? Is it on? Is it at? So those kind of things confuse us. And trust me, during those 30 hours of sessions, we have a very, very important role given to grammar. Right? We won't dwell into school grammar like we used to in school. If that was so impactful, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. But yes, we will dwell upon important areas of grammar which do really impact our communication on a routine basis, right? And then the third thing which I told you is missing from our basic structure in English, in other languages, sorry, the regional languages, is our helping verbs, or you call it the auxiliary verbs. Now things like is, has, have, do, these are things which also confuse us at times. So those are areas which definitely will be a part of our curriculum. We will help you understand better as to what comes where and why that particular thing would come there, right? What's the next thing? The next thing coming, I'm going to give you a small quiz. The next two sections, sorry, would be a small quiz. I want you to have a look at those questions on your screen. Now, when I told you prepositions confuse us, this is what I meant. Have a look at those questions in front of you. Question number 1. Let's see how many of us get it right. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Let's see each question, if it's 1 mark, how many marks we scored. Okay, guys, are you ready for it? Let's take it on. Now, what is the time in your watch? What is the time on your watch? Or is it what is the time by your watch? Which is the right answer? Which is the right answer? I know what the majority of the answer would be, because that is what our mother tongue influence or our translation tells us. So how many people in this room would choose what is the time in your watch? How many people choose what is the time on your watch? How many of you choose what is the time by your watch? So how many ins in this room? How many ons and how many bys? I'll give you the answer in just a few seconds from now. Let's move on to the second question so that you have your answers ready. My uncle works on the farm behind the church. My uncle works in the farm behind the church. My uncle works by the farm behind the church. Which is the correct answer? Question number 3. I always prefer coffee to tea. I always prefer coffee than tea. I always prefer coffee over tea. Now, which is the right answer? Next question. They accused him for dash. I'm sorry, there's a word missing there. They accused him, the word was murder. The word was murder. I forgot to type that out. I'm sorry, people. They accused him for murder. They accused him about murder. They accused him with murder, or they accused him of murder. What is the right answer? We congratulate you on your success. There was your success at the end. I'm sorry, that also got wiped off. We congratulate you about your success. We congratulate you for your success, or we congratulate you with your success. What is the right answer? People, are you ready with your answers? Yes, yes. I'll give you another second to get your answers in perspective. Can I give you the answers now? Let's see how many of us get 5 full marks in this section. These are all simple sentences which we use. But yes, we do get confused on whether it's on, in, at, than, over. It confuses us because preposition is a little bit of a confusion for us, right? So, answer to question number 1 is, let us see how many of you got it right. Mark yourself, okay? What is the time by your watch is the right answer. So how many of us got that right? That's exactly what should come there. It is not in, it is not on. What about the second question? My uncle works on the farm behind the church is the right answer. Why is it on? A farmhouse, a farm, a plantation, an estate is an open area. You don't have a roof over your head. Do you have a roof over your head? You don't. So when you don't have a roof over your head, and when we are talking about an open space, the correct preposition that has to come there is on. So my uncle works on the farm behind the church. It is not in or by. Okay. The next one, people. I always prefer coffee to than over tea. What's the right answer? I always prefer coffee to tea is the right answer. To. Why? You know, there are certain words in English which are married to a particular preposition. They're married. You can't break them apart. So when we talk in terms of a word like prefer, prefer is married to. So the correct preposition which comes with prefer is to. I always prefer coffee to tea. So next time you talk about a preference, you have to mention to along with prefer. There's nothing else which can come there. Prefer will not like it. Okay. Now what's the next one? They accused him. You always accuse. Accuse also is married to a particular preposition. Which is that one preposition? It is married to. It is of. Okay. So they accused him of murder is the right answer. What about the fifth one? We congratulate you on your success. You always congratulate somebody on something, on their success. So congratulate also is married to a particular preposition which is on. So guys, how many of you did well? How many marks so far? Even if you scored very little marks, if your score wasn't very good, don't worry too much about it. These are all little things which we will take up in our session and we will clarify. And you would understand why a particular word, a particular preposition follows a particular word. We will get to all that in detail when you join us as a part of our forthcoming sessions. So do you feel preposition, like I said, is a little bit of a challenge? Little bit of an issue? Yes? Never mind, we're going to overcome all these challenges, which is why we are in this whole process right now. Okay, people, what about the next one? Another important thing, which is very important, where we all face a lot of inhibition and we dread speaking English because of this one thing, is pronunciation. I have put pronunciation as the very first word because that word itself is not pronounced properly. You don't say pronunciation, which is what most people say. No, it is pronunciation. Like I told you yesterday, people, we don't have to speak like a native British speaker. No, it is okay to speak English with a very neutral accent. We all have our, every culture, every country has its own accent. It is okay to speak in that accent, but make sure that the accent is neutralized. It's neutral accent, right? That is important. Now, what about the next word? The most common word we all use and we all speak it. Which is that? Which is that one word? Restaurant? Restaurant, like they say in Malayalam? No, the correct pronunciation. People, please understand, there are a lot of words in English which have a French or other influence. You know why? English has a lot of influence from the French language and the Spanish language. So you'll find a lot of words in the English dictionary, be it Cambridge or Oxford, which have a very strong tinge of French into it. Some words are actually French. They're not even English. The second word that you see there is one such word. And how do you pronounce it? It's called restaurant. NT in the end is a little silent. It's very subtle. You don't really hear that sound. It's restaurant. What about the third word? Hotel. Is it? Hotel. No, it's hotel. Hotel. That's exactly how you pronounce it. There are certain words which need to be stressed, certain words which should not be stressed in the phonetics as we speak in English. What about the next word? Badam, we call it in Hindi. And what is it called in English? It's called almond. It is not almond. No, it is almond. L is kind of silent there. You don't hear the L sound. What about the next word? The most common mistake most of us make. I went for a meeting and the meeting went on for an hour. No, for an hour. H-O-U-R is pronounced as R, where H is silent. You don't really hear the H sound. What about the next one? I think I mentioned this yesterday when we spoke. Now, this is a word which is a very common grave mistake, especially in South of India. People generally tend to pronounce this word as mix it. Let's not mix it. What's the correct pronunciation? I'm so glad a lot of you already know it, right? It is mixed, mixed. I go to a college or I go to an institution which has a very mixed crowd. Yeah. What about the next word? Target. This is the target for you for the month. Is that right? Is that the right way to pronounce it? No, this word is pronounced as target. What is it? Target, right? And the next word, your curriculum vitae or your biodata can also be called a resume. No, it has a small hyphen at the end if you've noticed after the E. This is again not an English word. Now, this word is pronounced as resume, right? Resume. Resume is a different English word which means to continue something that you stopped. We have resumed our webinar again today, right? We stopped it yesterday, we're continuing it today. So we resumed our webinar. So that is resume. This is resume, got it? What about the last word? Did you all have your dash today? What is this? Fill in the blanks. Breakfast. Did you have your breakfast today? It is not breakfast. No. I know break and fast are two words. When you put together, it becomes breakfast. No. It is breakfast. Did you have your breakfast today? So people, what is important is to speak in a language which is universal and which has a standard neutral accent. The whole world should be able to understand what you're saying. And for that, you need a neutral accent. And that is something which is very easy to develop. You just have to observe, you just have to listen, and it can be a part of your system. Now, again, people, we have been getting some messages on our phone asking for the registration link where you can join the course. So I put it here again. This is the link you can go to, manage.uot.edu.in/fee-payment. You can just go to this particular web link and register yourself. Thank you so much for your support, people. Thank you so much. And we would, the more people we get to see in our room, merrier it is. The more people out there are learning as per what we understand. You know, thank you so much for your support. Amazing, amazing. I'm really, really touched. Now, what are we talking about? What are we going to talk about today, people? We are going to talk about etiquette at the workplace. Etiquette. How many of you have heard that word before? And what is this word etiquette all about? In simple words, in a layman's language, etiquette is nothing but your manners, your mannerisms, the way you conduct yourself, the way you present yourself, the way you talk to people, the way you interact. Those are things which are called etiquette at the workplace. I think I would just hand over the mic to Reema ma'am for a second. Ma'am, I think you wanted to mention something. Maybe mic.
Actually, ma'am, we got like more than 3,500 registration from participation side.
Wow.
That's why I want to announce it. Like it is a great achievement by us. That's why I'm like, I want to say you that information. Just give a message to all of the participants, and thank you so much, participant, to join us in such a good manner. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am.
Nice to hear that, ma'am. Thank you so much. All right. So people, let's move on to our next slide. Now, what is the outline of this session? What are we going to learn in this session? This is exactly what the outline of today's session looks like. We're going to understand what etiquettes are. We're going to talk about what business etiquettes are. How do we conduct ourselves? What is the importance of conducting yourself perfectly in a workplace? And we are also going to talk about the difference between social and business etiquette. We'll talk about how is it that we need to interact with people in an official environment. How do you interact with people in a verbal, in an official, in a workplace, basically? And what are the crucial, what is the crucial role that your verbal, your written, your non-verbal communication and your body language, eye contact, all these things play in a workplace? We're going to talk about all that. And yes, the most important thing we're going to talk about here is first impression, right? How do people look at you? Are you judged based on how you dress, how you introduce yourself, how you shake hands with the person when you meet them for the first time, how you hand over your business card, how you look at them, the way you, your eye contact, your body language. Does all that have an impact on the impression that you create on people? We're going to talk about all that right now through this session. So people, let's get started, and here we go. Now, what is etiquette? Now, I just told you in a layman's language, in a simple person's language, etiquette is nothing but the way you conduct yourself, the set of rules that you follow when you're in a particular given situation or ambience or environment, right? So this is how etiquette is defined. By the way, people, etiquette, I know, is a word which confuses a lot of people. The way it is pronounced is etiquette. Etiquette means manners, mannerisms. The set of rules or customs that control accepted behavior in a society. When you're at a workplace, there is a certain way or manner in which you conduct yourself. Is that the same manner and way in which you conduct yourself at home or with your relatives, with your grandmother, with your friends? No. There is a certain rule of conduct that you follow when you're in a given situation or in a given environment. That's exactly what etiquette is all about. Okay, now let me tell you, people, there's always this first impression people create about you as soon as you walk into a room. When a whole lot of you saw me yesterday, I'm sure when you saw my face, when you saw me speak, the way I conduct myself, there was a certain impression that all of you carried on your mind, right? Now, that impression that you carry is a very, very important impression that we create on people's mind. Do you know, a lot of people, I have spent almost like 19 years of my life into HR and recruitments, and trust me, people, this could be one thing which would either make your career or break it. The first impression is very, very important. Now, these are two amazing books you can actually go out, get yourself, grab it, read it. What are these two books called? The first book by Will Rogers is a beautiful book which says you will never get a second chance to make a first impression. This entire book talks about how to create that first impression and how important it is to create that first impression. And the second book is all about manners, how you need to conduct yourself, when, where, and how do you carry yourself in a given situation is what the second book by Munro Leaf talks about. If possible, please go out there, grab your hands on this book. Of course, our sessions would take a lot of cues from these amazing books that we have as our resources. Now, the other thing that you need to remember is good manners never go out of style. Good manners. If you're a well-mannered person, if you know how to conduct yourself, of course, people would love to have you around. They would like to be around you, and probably you could be a mentor to them in terms of teaching a whole lot of things on how to conduct yourself, right? Now, when we say good manners, it does not just include, your personality, the way you dress. No, it goes a lot beyond that. It depends on the way you speak to the people, the way your eye contact looks, your body language. All these are messages that you are giving out to the people, giving out to the person on the other side. So it is very, very important that you conduct yourself very gracefully, in a very dignified manner, in a very balanced manner, in whatever situation you are in. Now, what do good manners do? Good manners open a whole lot of closed doors. There are a lot of people, when you look at them, the first impression may not be very great. But as you speak to them, as you start talking to them, as you start connecting with them, you realize what an amazing, impeccable personality they are, right? I'm sure it has happened to a whole lot of us, So here it is very, very important. If you're a well-mannered, very dignified person, it will not be difficult for you to open any door. I'll tell you a small example. I go to this temple very close to my house. It's a very, very famous temple. I used to go there regularly, and there used to be this auntie, very, very old auntie, who would come every day, and she would watch me taking rounds of the temple every day. But trust me, for the first 3 to 4 months, she would give me a very grave look. She would not even smile at me. But I made it a point to smile at her every evening that I saw her. Whether she smiled or not, it was immaterial. But I made it a point to smile at her. Because I knew probably she's not smiling at me because she has had some terrible experience, which makes her wary of people. Maybe she's just being cautious. She had some bad experience. Maybe she was a very warm person at some point in time, but something has changed. So keeping that empathy, that understanding on mind, I used to smile at her every day. Then one fine day, after 3 or 4 months, she actually smiled back at me and she asked me, "What's your name? You know, what's your name?" And then as we started talking, one day she even told me, "You know what, Praveena? I used to think you must be a stupid person to smile at me. I never used to respond also. I used to think, why is she smiling back? What, I mean, is she crazy? Can't she see I have no connection, no feelings towards her?" I said, "No, at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We are all connected by the same law or the force of attraction." So for me, I knew there would be a point in time where you would smile back and you would come back. What if I had given up on the second day thinking, what an arrogant lady, why should I smile at her? She doesn't even smile back. And then she said, "I notice you interact with everybody around. You smile at everybody, you speak to everybody, you made so many friends in no time." So I knew there was something about you which was warm, which was positive, which is what made me come to you. So I'm not trying to praise your people, but I'm just trying to give you an example from my life. See, the way you conduct yourself, the way you behave, it would help open a whole lot of hearts, open a whole lot of doors which are closed. Go out there. At the end of the day, we are all one family, right? So don't keep your ego close to your heart. Keep the love you have close to your heart, not your ego. Conduct yourself in a very dignified, graceful manner. Let people notice you. Get noticed. And what will people notice you? The way you behave, the way you conduct. See, everybody around you, we may not realize this, but everybody out there is watching us. We have a whole lot of eyes on us, especially when you're working. Everybody is eyeing you. How is she performing? How is she doing? Will she take my place away? That sense of competition is always there. So become a great example rather than anything else, in a given situation. So next one. Always remember that people are watching, just exactly what I told you right now. Be aware that people are watching. Some people are judged as very nasty, rude people. Why? Why? Is everybody making a mistake of judging them and putting them in one particular vertical? No, it's probably because of their attitude, the behavior that they have been put into that particular caste, where people think, okay, this person is rude, not nice. But there are some people the whole world would flock to. Why? It is basically because they are conscientious about how they conduct themselves in front of people. And they are people who would love to set a very, very positive vibe, a very, very positive example in front of the world, which is where all these top leaders have such amazing following, so many people following them because of the way they conduct themselves. We would love to go after them, learn from them, and embrace their mannerisms, their style of attitude and all those things, because we want to imbibe all those qualities which would definitely make us a lovable, adorable, better person at the end of the day, right, people? So it's important that you conduct yourself very, very gracefully wherever you are. Even if you're alone, which is the best time to be at your best behavior? Which is best time? I would say even when you're alone, make sure you conduct yourself gracefully. Because how you conduct yourself when you're by yourself actually becomes a habit. And make sure you develop positive habits instead of negative ones, because somewhere or the other, it will reflect. So make sure whatever you do is an absolute grace, right? Let people remember you for the warmth that you have given out to them. Let people know you for the great etiquettes that you follow. Let the people know you because of the amazing person that you are. So set an example people can never ever forget, is what I would say. Now, what are proper etiquettes, people? You might be thinking, this ma'am has been talking about etiquettes for a long time now. What are these etiquettes? What are proper etiquettes? What are good manners? What is a nice way of conducting yourself? These are the points I have been able to put together and tell you that when you have good manners, when you have a great, value around the way you conduct yourself, you tend to automatically create a very, very professional look, a professional feel about yourself, you know. And the other thing is, it will keep you apart. It will set you apart. People will start benchmarking you. Okay, yes, this is the kind of person I would like to become. I'm sure when we were all kids, we were all asked a question: who do you want to be like when you grow up? Right? A lot of students would have said, I want to be like my science teacher. I want to be like my English teacher. I want to be like my music teacher. I want to be like, our prime minister, a whole lot. And why do we kind of put ourselves in that particular, why do we compare and why do we benchmark these people? Because these are the people who have certain qualities which we admire. These are people with qualities, with the grace which we admire, and we would love to be like them. So people, all I'm saying is try to set apart, try to try to benchmark for yourself qualities which the whole world would actually look up to. That's exactly the kind of benchmark you should set apart for yourself. You know what I do? I love to observe people. I love to observe people. I do watch a lot of TED Talks, a lot of series, and I try to learn a lot from what I see around me and things I don't want to be doing, looking at people around me. So observe, go out there, observe people, observe the people around you. Even when you watch a small series or a movie, just observe the character. What are the things you liked in that character? Try to absorb it, assimilate it in your lives, and try to better yourself than what you are today. Every day, your biggest competition is yourself, not anybody else around you. Your biggest competition is yourself. In the morning, when you wake up, ask yourself, Praveena, are you a better person than what you were yesterday? Now, those are things which matter. Those are the important things. Not whether my neighbor got a new car or did my neighbor buy a very expensive jewelry. No, those are not important things. The important thing is, am I a better person than what I was yesterday? Compare yourself with yourself, nobody else. Nobody else, trust me, is worth a comparison for you than you yourself. So make sure that you become a better person, a better version of yourself with each passing day. And follow the etiquettes, follow the positive vibes that you receive from the people around you, and try to better yourself. Now, what happens when you have these good manners? You are a very graceful, very confident person. What happens? You become a spark for other people to follow. You yourself become a more confident person than what you were yesterday, what you left behind yesterday. So good manners never run out of fashion. It will always say everything in the world might change, but good manners, a positive attitude, and a positive way of looking at things before you, trust me, are things which will never change. It is priceless and it is there to stay forever and ever. Another thing, children, what is the difference between social and business etiquettes? I keep calling you children because I have that teacher in me, which is so very alive. And I forget the crowd in front of me may have a whole lot of people who are professors, who are, at a certain position. So please, I apologize for my foolishness here and there. But yes, in a classroom, you are still my children. Yes. All right. So it's not intended to hurt anybody's feelings. So I apologize. Okay, people, what is the difference between social and business etiquettes? Would you conduct yourself in the same manner, as you would in a crowd of people who are your friends? Would you conduct yourself in the same manner in a social crowd as you would in the office? Would you? Definitely not. There are certain things which are called social etiquettes, and these are a little different from your business etiquette. When we talk in terms of social etiquettes, I tell you, when you are in a very, very casual environment, you have a certain manner in which you conduct yourself. For example, if I meet a friend on the way, I could stand, hug my friend, talk to him or her for hours, holding his or her hand For hours together, that's not a big deal, right? But can you do the same things in an official environment where you're talking to your vice president, where you're talking to a hiring manager or a top manager in a group? Can you do that? Can you do that? I don't think so. Can you go right? Can you run right up to your vice president, hug him in the morning, ask him how everything is around him, hold his hand, and keep talking to him for 2 hours? No. There are certain manners, certain what do you call etiquettes you need to follow in an official environment, and certain that you follow in a social or a casual environment when you're at home with your relatives or with other people. You could pull your grandmother's cheeks, you could peck her, you could kiss her. Can you do that to your vice president or CEO of the company? People might think you've lost it somewhere, right? So you have to be very careful on how you conduct yourself in a given look around you, and then decide how you need to conduct yourself at that point, right? So social etiquettes and business etiquettes are very, very important. You have to distinguish. How do you behave in an official environment? You have to be very, very professional. You have to be very, very graceful. Everything, right from a handshake to how you speak to a person, your body, everything matters. Everything matters. But in a social environment, a lot of things could be, kind of taken for granted. But in an official environment, a lot of things cannot be taken for granted. You have to maintain those manners and etiquettes. Now, what is the difference between social and business etiquette? I have tried to put it in two categories. When you talk about the social etiquette, it is more likely to be implemented. It is more or less, it refers to an environment which is very casual, which is informal. You don't have to worry about too many things, And here you can be overtly nice. You can go out of your way to do things when it comes to a social etiquette. But can you do the same things in a business etiquette? For example, I just told you about the hug, right? You can hug everybody in your family that you meet, but can you be hugging around everybody in the office in that environment? No. So those are certain things that you really, really need to take care of. So chivalry may be expected in a social environment. You can go out of your way, be casual, but it may not apply necessarily to all business environments. So you have to be very, very, very careful. Now, when talking in terms of social etiquette, now the way we behave or conduct ourselves, a lot depends on the age of the person or the social status of the person that we are talking to. When I look at my son, the way I act out with him and the way I treat him may not be the same way I treat my grandmother. I have to respect her. I might touch her feet, and all those things. But when I look at my son, I cuddle him, I hug him. We, fight with each other jokingly. All that is there. But I can't be doing the same things with my grandmother or my mother-in-law, right? You have to maintain a certain behavior, a certain dignity, a certain kind of influence, a certain kind of behavior influences you when you deal with people of different ages or social structure in a social environment or a casual environment. But what about business etiquette? There, am I supposed to differentiate or distinguish between the age, the social status of a person? No. Every person in the organization has to be treated equally, irrespective of what position that person has. Do you think a person who is an office boy does not deserve as much respect as you would give to your other colleagues? Of course he does, right? In a business environment, make sure that you are formal, you are dignified, and you treat everybody with equal respect and grace. All right, very, very important. Now, first impressions. This is a topic I have chosen specifically because I feel this makes or breaks a lot of careers. I have seen it in the 19-20 years that I've spent into recruitments in HR. Trust me, you may be the most amazing personality around, but if you fail to impress me with that first impression that you give me when you come for an interview, you have actually lost it. So you have to make sure that your first impression is perfect and absolutely true. Now, what are these things which would really make a difference to your first impression? What are these things which would make a difference to your first impression? Okay, guys, I am getting a lot of messages on the registration link again. So I'll just play it for you out here. Please go, people look at the registration link here. I've been getting tons of messages, ma'am. How do we register and which link? So here it is. It is manage.uot.edu.in/fee payment. And people, like I told you, this could be a very, very expensive course for people who have gone out, who have researched and come back. And I've been asked, why are we charging so less? The answer is very simple. The chairman of University of Technology feels this is just a time for people to learn, to empower themselves with skills which are very, very important. And he also understands the kind of economic condition most people are in. So this course has been offered to you at at a very, very rock bottom price, which is just 3,800 rupees. So you can go to that link and register yourself, just paying a fee which is under $50, and be a part of these 30 sessions of an amazing turnaround into your personality and career. So I hope you've got the link, people. I hope you've got it right. Can I move on to my slides now? Yes? Okay. Thank you so much. All right, the way you dress is very, very important, people. There was a time where people would walk into an interview room, or they would walk into their office in a full suit, tie, and full sleeve, right? Now, are we in that kind of environment now? No. Nowadays, most companies follow a dress code, which is like, dress down, where you can be in your casuals, you can dress up the way you like, of course, in a very, very decent, acceptable manner, and go to your office and work there. But yes, you have to be very, very mindful of people or visitors who come to the office. If you're expecting visitors and if you're expecting people to come into the office, you have to ensure that you maintain an official decorum where it's okay to go wearing a suit. Or even if it's not a business suit, you can be in smart formals to your office, right? But be mindful of the people around you. Ensure that you dress decently, and you don't make the other person who's looking at you feel uncomfortable because of the way you're dressed, right? So that doesn't mean you have to be very heavily accessorized. You have to wear a party dress and go. No, be simple yet elegant. That's exactly what your dress code should be like. But yes, the way you dress does definitely have a strong impression on people's minds. I remember when I went for my first interview with my sister, we had gone to an institution where they were seeking young researchers. And when we had gone for the first interview, I remember very distinctly that one of my friends commented on a couple of interviewees who had come, and she had said, this person is definitely not going to get it. See, they walked in a chappal, in just, a casual footwear for an interview, and they think these are bathroom slippers. How can they come for an interview? So all I'm trying to say is, never give people a chance to judge you based on the way you dress. Make sure you're dressed appropriately for any given situation. So even if you have to take a little bit of effort to make that first impression, I feel it's really worth a try. Go for it, right? Wouldn't you like to see beautiful, smartly dressed people around you? Don't you look back again at them when you see smartly dressed people? Of course, we all do. So why don't you try and become that one person that the whole world would turn around to look at, right? You're not going to lose anything. In the bargain, you might gain a whole lot, right? So, now what's the next thing? How do you introduce yourself in a business environment is also a very, very important thing. Handshakes, people, it makes a lot of difference. The person, the way a person shakes his hand when I put my hand forward tells a lot about the personality that he or she carries. Now, a few things that you have to keep on mind is, whenever you walk into an office, make sure that you introduce yourself. It is very important to take that initiative of putting your hand forward, shaking the hand, and looking at the person right in the eye and introducing yourself. And how do you introduce yourself? Hi, good morning, I'm Praveena. Is that a good way to introduce yourself? No. Your voice modulation, your warmth, your smile, all those things make a lot of difference to the person who is receiving you. Keep your smile on. Be on a smile on mode 24/7 when you're in an office environment. Be warm. If you find it difficult to smile, at least be warm. That warmth has got to be felt, when people look at you. Your handshake has to be firm and a nice warm bun. Make sure when you introduce yourself, you look at the person in the eye. Who are you talking to? A wall? No. It's a human being standing right in front of you. Respect that. Acknowledge their presence. Look at them when you speak to them. Shake your hands. Tell them, hey, here I am, all ready and excited to meet you. That excitement has to flow in everything that you do, from your words, from your facial expressions to your body language, the way you look at the person, everything. It is a holistic personality, a perspective that the person is going to look at. And yes, people, this is very, very important. When you exchange your business cards, I have to tell you this. I have seen a lot of people just pull out a business card very casually out of their pocket and put it on the table. Hello. Don't you feel you're being rude and disrespectful? When people do that, I actually feel, my presence is not being acknowledged properly. So when you give out your business card, make sure you give it with both hands, as if it's a gift. You value this relationship, you give it with both hands. And when you receive the business card, ensure that you receive it with both the hands, and don't just receive it and pocket it. No. When you receive the business card, take it, have a look at it, try to read the name of the person, the contents of the card, and then put it away very gracefully and very nicely. Stack it away in a place where the person feels, yes, you keep all your precious things out there, right? So make sure the way you receive the card and you give the card is done in a very, very proper manner. Because these are small things, people, but the whole world is watching. They notice all these things. And we get judged based on these little things. So make sure these receipts of, a card, business cards, and the way you present the business card is done very gracefully. Okay. The next thing, how do we shake hands? Now, this is one area of which a whole lot of people goof up. They don't know how to go about it. There are different kinds of handshakes. So, and these handshakes tell a lot about the kind of person you are. Some handshakes are very, very limp. They just give their hand without any feelings, just like that, put it straight forward, expecting the other person to hold it. And, that's called a dead fish handshake. What is this kind of handshake indicative of? This kind of handshake, it's indicative of a very, very cold person that I'm dealing with. A person who is very disinterested, who has absolutely no interest. He's just kind of tolerating you because you're there, right? Then you have some people who really squeeze your fingers very tight, when they hold your hand. These are people who are trying to be very, very dominating. These are people who like to take over with the whole deal, and people who are very officious. So that, I don't think, is a very good handshake. Don't go and squeeze people's hands. Make it a very mild, simple, firm handshake when you shake hands with people. Then you have something called a hand crusher, a hand hug, the dominator, power handshakes. I'm not going to go into the details, but let me tell you, we'll be doing all this in the classroom, of course. But let me tell you, whenever you shake a person's hand, make sure that you give the person a very, very warm handshake. Hold the hand firm and not too tight, and your thumb has to cover the other person's palm, which would indicate to the other person that, yes, you mean business and you're there really, really for a good reason, to spend time with them and to understand their business and share what you have to give them, right? So make sure your hand is in a firm position when you shake hands with the people. You should actually, when you watch news, see how the politicians give their hand. Sometimes people trying to put their upper hand, like this, palm up kind of a handshake. Here, this is okay when you're in the company of your friends. But I would not say this is a negative handshake, but this is a handshake which is indicative of being overtly friendly. It's somebody who's trying to get very close to you, and somebody who's trying to take an upper hand of things. I wouldn't really say it's a negative handshake, but it's better that you stick to what I told you earlier. Have a simple, graceful, firm handshake. Okay, people? Next, how do you interact with your colleague? Now, this is very, very important. This is where a whole lot of people want to, just leave their job and move out because they have some people around them who are making life so difficult and tough for them. Now, how do you interact? Now, how do you communicate with these people? Now, these are all body languages, which are indicative of a whole lot of things. People, I would like to tell you one thing as a mantra. Whoever be your colleague, could be a senior, superior, or somebody who is your subordinate, irrespective, be very, very, very polite, be very, very formal, be very, very professional. Don't get into their skin, don't get into their affairs, and don't try to personalize things. No. Try to keep things very, very official. Don't get too close, don't get too personal when you're in an office environment. Maintain that decorum, maintain that formality, because it is very important in an official kind of environment. Now, these are some body languages I've put here in a nutshell, people, because these I feel are very, very important cues when you look at a person. It could be indicative of what the person is trying to tell you. Whenever somebody is talking and you suddenly jump in front and you sit like this in attention, what is it indicative of? When you lean forward, the other person is trying to tell you, hey, you know what? I'm really interested in what you're telling me. Come on, I'm all set, all ready to hear you, right? It's a very, very positive body. So leaning forward, whenever you're talking to somebody, whenever your superiors are talking to you, whenever your manager is talking to you, whenever any of your colleagues is talking to you, and for that matter, whenever anybody is talking to you, make sure you lean forward and give them all your attention. Because listening is a quality very few people have. And trust me, that's what the world needs at this given point. Everybody wants to be heard. They want somebody who can listen to them. So when you lean forward, you're actually telling them, you know what, I'm ready to listen to you. Go on, tell me, what is it that you have to tell me? And don't keep a very grave, grim face as if the whole world has beaten you up. No, always keep that smile on. You know what happens when you smile? You might have a big storm going on inside of you. But nevertheless, when you smile at a person, you're actually indicating, you're actually giving them an impression that, none of these problems are really problems for me. I can deal with it. And I can deal with it gracefully and with all the joy. Right? And the second thing is when you walk into an interview room and when the first thing you do is smile, your smile enters the room even before you do. What happens in that situation? You're actually giving the other person an impression that you are a very warm personality. You're approachable. They can approach you. They can delegate tasks to you. And you will handle it gracefully. And another important thing, a secret about smile is when you smile at a person, however negative the person might be about you initially, you are actually able to break that ice. The person stops judging you the moment you smile and you enter. All the negative feelings the person was carrying about you, you shattered it. And all with a simple smile, right? So smile is very, very important. And people, when you're talking to somebody, make sure you keep nodding your head in between. I have a tendency to sit like this. This is how I respond when I go for meetings or when I'm listening to somebody very, very intently. What is this sin? When I put my finger on my chin, it's like I'm analyzing a few things which are being told. I'm analyzing. And when I nod my head, it's like, yes, I'm listening to you carefully. I'm making note of every word you're telling me. I'm absorbing all what you're telling me. So it's nodding. There should be some body language, some cue which will tell the other person that you are attentive and you're listening to them. What about the next thing? Eye contact. Imagine if your husband or if your boyfriend or anybody for that matter were to walk up to you and say, I love you, without even looking at your face, might look somewhere and say, I love you, I love you, I love you. You might think, who the hell is he in love with, right? So you have to make sure that whenever you talk to a person, look at them right in the eye and express what you're trying to say. Even before your words flow out of your mouth, your eyes would have already spoken what you're trying to say, right? So it's very important that you look at the person in the eye and talk to them. What happens when you don't look at the person in the eye and talk? If an interviewer asks you certain questions and you look away from the interviewer, you don't look straight at the interviewer, if you don't look at their eyes, what does it indicate at all? It is simply indicative of the fact that either you're lying about whatever you're saying, or you're trying to be defensive, or you're hiding something from us. That's what lack of eye contact is very indicative. So make sure, even if it's not in an official environment, wherever you are, make sure that you look at the person in the eye when you speak to them, because that gives them a feeling of confidence that yes, you are with them in the conversation and you are listening to them and you're wanting to be heard by them, right? What about the next thing? I see a lot of people stand like this with crossed hands. I know a lot of people. I have studied this conscientiously recently. I have studied this, that when a person that I'm not very comfortable with, or I'm not very friendly with, or a person I don't really know comes near me, my hands automatically go like this. And now, very, very consciously, I've stopped doing this, because this is a very bad body language. This could mean a lot of things. Either you're trying to dominate the other person standing in front of you, or this is indicative of the fact that, listen, you know what, I'm not very interested in talking with you, so please get going. It's a very, very negative body language where you cross your hands when you're talking to a person, because it's indicative of being very defensive, being very rude, or probably being opposed to the person who's standing in front of you. So please don't cross your hands when you're speaking to people, especially in an office environment, because you're actually giving the other person a symbol that you either don't like them or you're trying to dominate the whole scene, and you don't want to be doing that, right? Okay. Now, when you see people who are always tapping their fingers, some people are always biting on their nails. I know a whole lot of people who are shaking their legs vigorously when you're talking. All these are indicative of what? Can you tell me what these things are indicative? These are cues. Just by looking at the person, I can tell that the person is nervous. There's something that's bothering them. They're not with us. Either they are very bored or they are very nervous. So that's what that simple body language is a cue of. It gives you an indication that the person is nervous, the person is worried, the person is bored, or the person is not, right? Anyways, it's a negative body language. So avoid these things, especially when you are in an office environment or when you go for an interview. You may not know this, but there is somebody out there within the organization who's noticing these little aspects about you, even before you enter the interview room. So be very careful. So lack of eye contact, we've already spoken about it. A person who doesn't look at you in the eye is either a person who's trying to hide something or a person who cannot be trusted, okay, is lying. There could be a person could be lying. And what about people who just sit back, stump, and sit back like that, or sit like this in the class? You've seen a lot of students sitting in the classroom tapping on their notebook like that. What is that indicative of? It is indicative of either discomfort, either they're not comfortable, something is they're confused about the subject being spoken about, or they are totally bored. They are probably not interested in the matter being given out to them or expressed. What about the next thing? Another very important thing is verbal communication. You know what, people? Half your life is going to be taken over by emails, by a whole lot of things you'll have to write. Yeah, all that comes as a part of verbal communication. Anything that you have to write and communicate, or you speak, wherever you speak, all of this comes under verbal communication. Now, one very important aspect that you have to take care of when we talk of verbal communication is what? Don't use a very heavy duty jargon of words which people don't even understand. Don't make a person go run, pick up a Cambridge dictionary to find out what you're saying. Use simple words. Use simple words. Keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. I've put a very classic example here, where it's, I want all of you to read it. It is, you can take it as a slight reading session here. If it transpires that there is a surfeit of applications for this post, we may have to blah, 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 cause to invite assistance from another department. Instead of putting it like this, a lot of people may not even know the meaning of the word surfeit, so transpires. So what do? Keep it simple. All they are trying to communicate is, if there are too many people who apply for this particular position, we may need help from the other departments, right? So please make sure that you keep your communication, your words simple. Your emails have to be very, very simple. Follow the official protocol of email writing. But yes, the language you use there, use simple words. Keep it simple so that the other person is not left struggling to understand. And another thing, when you use very, very tough, big, strong words, what happens is the communication that goes out to the other person may not be right. It may not be indicative of exactly what you're trying to tell them. It might get goofed up. So ensure that your communication is kept very, very simple. I hope my verbal communication right now is simple and you're able to follow. Are you people? Am I using very tough words out here? Very heavy jargon of words? Am I complicating things? I hope not. You should also try and keep your communication as simple as possible. And this comes when you build on your vocabulary. You need words, right? When we fail to have words in our intellectual dictionary is where we struggle, and we end up using so sometimes very incorrect words in a given context. When you don't understand something, people, you should actually walk up to the other person and tell them, excuse me, you know what, I was not able to follow what you just told. Can you please clarify? Can you keep it simple? I found it very tough. I was not able to. Always walk up to the other person and try to get a clarification. There's nothing wrong in it. Never think that if I walk up to the person, what will he think about me? My God, this person doesn't know even this much. No, don't worry about those. Those are not things you need to worry about. What you need to worry about is, you need to worry about whether you have understood the message clearly. If not, please walk up to the person and ask. Nobody is going to murder you for this, right? Okay, next one. Now, what are the workplace etiquettes that you need to follow? I think these are etiquettes. Some of these must be followed anywhere that you go, not just at the workplace. Whenever you are in an office, make sure, you might have a lot of disagreements with your colleagues or with other people, but please don't pounce on them and pound them because you don't agree with something that they said or you don't like something that they said. Make sure, however big your disagreement with them, however big your dissatisfaction with what they said, please maintain your dignity. Your dignity, the way you conduct yourself, is indicative of your character. So ensure and make sure that the character that you bring out and reflect is a character the people around you would like to be, like you to be like. All right? Don't give a very negative impression about yourself by spoiling things. Maintain your dignity, maintain your decorum. You know what I would do in a situation like that? I've faced so many situations like this. What do? You just keep quiet. You just keep quiet at that particular moment. Don't argue. Don't even express your feelings. Don't express what you're trying to say. But later during the day, when the whole scenario is cooled down, you can walk up to the person and tell them, you know what, I need a couple of minutes of yours. And there is a certain point that concerns me. And I'd like to discuss that with you. Do it very gracefully. You know what, you will earn more respect of the other person that you had an argument. When somebody blows his or her top off, what are they trying to do? They're trying to irritate you and they want you to get angry. But you have to prove yourself better than the others. And you have to tell them, no, I'm not going to get angry, despite the fact that you want me to be angry. Be dignified, be graceful. That will earn you a whole lot of more respect than what you already have, right? Next thing, this is a very, very critical issue in most of the work environments. You might have one person who talks very loudly, very boisterously, not even respecting that there are other people in the office and they have some very serious work that deserves concentration to be done. So be very, very sensitive of the presence of other people around you and make sure you don't talk loudly, talk softly. The other person can hear you, you're on the phone. Talk softly, nobody is deaf here. And please respect the people around you. The bottom line, when we talk in terms of business etiquettes, is respect and sensitivity. Two things you have to keep on mind whenever we talk about an office environment. What are the other things you have to make sure? A lot of companies fail to grow because the people within the organization do not allow it. See, Google, Microsoft, all these companies are what they are because of the kind of people that are connected. So it's very, very important what you make of the responsibilities given to you. It is not a good idea at all to gossip within an office environment. Please don't go to your colleague and talk, backbite your boss or backbite other people. Ensure that you are being very, very graceful and you are being absolutely courteous to the other person. This is very, very important. What is the other thing that you must not do, people? You have to respect other people's, you have to people, just one second. All right, you have to ensure, I've been again getting a lot of messages for the registration link. I'll come to that later. Now, another thing you have to really, really keep on mind, people, is respect other people's opinion. Don't try to kind of, push your idea across. Don't try to push your opinion across. It is very important to understand what the other person is trying to say. Maybe they have an idea which is probably going to, turn around the whole business. Hear them out, listen to them, and try to support your colleagues rather than trying to act out in a competitive. Don't be too competitive. You grow as your company grows, as the people in your company grow. So ensure that you support people around you rather than creating too much of unnecessary competition. So make sure you respect other people's opinions. Now, people, I would like to tell you, all this that I'm telling you right now is in a nutshell, but there are a lot of nuances to each of these topics. For example, when I say respect privacy, there might be a whole lot of aspect to respecting privacy, but since we have a very short time with us in hand right now, I'm just running through the whole session, but we will do interactive sessions. We will have a whole lot of role play to understand what these mean in an office environment. So as of now, I'm just going to quickly run through the sessions that would be part of the 30 sessions that we're talking about. This is just in a nutshell. So please bear with me. I know we can't take things in a very, very extensive manner today, but I'll try and put across certain things for you to understand what this whole module is all about. This is just one of the topics we picked up today, which is workplace etiquettes. Now, what is the other thing? Respect other people's privacy. There have been situations, people, where I have seen some of my colleagues who leave their laptop open and they go for a coffee or they go out to meet somebody. In the meantime, there are people who are waiting to make the best of the opportunity. They come, sit at the computer and see what this other person is doing. Do you think it's a nice thing to do? Would you like your computer being looked at, your emails being scrolled while you're away from your desk, or while you're doing it and somebody comes and keeps peeping at your system? Would you like it? No, it is not a good thing at all. It speaks very negatively about the kind of character you are, So please don't do those kind of things. You have been given a certain task. All you need to do is you focus on that, you work on your things, and don't bother too much about what the other person is doing. Let them handle their responsibility. You have no right whatsoever to go and peek into their affairs, officially or otherwise. So privacy is very, very important to everybody. Make sure you respect it and be respectful at all times. So in a nutshell, people, what are these workplace etiquettes that we need to keep on mind? I have tried to put the whole thing into one slide, and this is nothing but all what I spoke about in the last few minutes. You have to be soft-spoken and cordial. Whether you're writing an email or whether you're speaking to a person individually, you have to make sure you respect them, you're dignified, and you're soft-spoken. Don't raise your voice. Don't be rude. Don't get into fights and arguments. You have to be punctual. When you tell somebody we have a meeting at, make sure that you're there by 9:50 or 9:55. All right? Respect the other person. The other person feels nice. They feel inclusive when you do that, Don't gossip or backbite. Be very productive at work. We all have been given exactly 24 hours by God. There's no partiality there. So make the best of the time given to you. Be productive. Do positive, constructive things than wasting your time on chatting and talking to other people. All right. Another thing, people, take initiative wherever possible. Don't wait for your boss or other colleagues to tell you what to do. You should take initiative. Be proactive. That makes a lot of difference into the way people look at you. You will be assigned important tasks. You'll be given important tasks to shoulder when we see that you have the initiative, you take responsibilities. The company develops a bigger faith and trust in you when you try to do that, right? And always discuss with people when you're taking some important decisions. Always consult your colleagues, consult your team, so that you make sure that whatever decision you're going to take is going to be the best decision and in the highest for the highest good of everybody around you and the organization, of course. Try to create small groups or teams within the organization, because team building is one exercise which brings out the best as in terms of creativity in people. The most innovative, the most creative ideas have been built across tables where people have brainstormed and exchanged ideas, right? So please build constructive teams so that you come out with the best possible solutions whenever you can. Be open to other people's opinion. Don't interrupt people when they're talking. Take suggestions, take opinions, and be honest. Be honest, people, when you make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all do, right? Right? You might have been given a task and you might have told your boss, okay, I'll finish it on Friday, and probably you've not been able to finish it on Friday. And you have a meeting probably on Saturday on that particular presentation that has been given to you. Don't avoid the presentation saying, oh, I'm not feeling well. My uncle is not well. My son is not well. No, don't lie. Be honest. Just tell your boss that there is something that came up. I was not able to finish my last task, so I've not been able to work on this presentation. I really apologize. But yes, if you can give me 2 more days on this, I promise you I'll come out with the best presentation you would ever have seen. So be honest. Don't lie. Don't lie. Because honesty has a great value. Next, you also have to make sure that all your written communication, your emails, your presentations, your memos are all written in very simple and very, very clear manner. The words you use are very, very important here. The words have to be simple, and your words should be able to express the exact message that you're going to give the people around. All right. Now, what about dealing with difficult colleagues? Now, this is a problem all of us face, all of us. For those people who are not working yet, your students, there will be a day you will all be working with some wonderful organization. But when you get there, most definitely will always be a colleague who gives you this headache. There are some difficult colleagues. So how do you deal with them? Now, what are these different kinds of difficult colleagues? Now, these are some categories I have been able to put across here. There might be some people who would just never listen to you, would not take any of your opinion in the right spirit. And they are like, they know it all. I know it all. Come on, you're not, who are you to teach me? Who are you to tell me this? You'll find a lot of people like that. The know-alls, as we call them. When you have people like that, you know what you should do? Don't pin them down. Don't feel, don't feel that you have been offended. Rather, try to find out how much they know and try to learn from them. If you feel they're really people who know a lot, they're very fantastic people with a whole lot of knowledge, try to gather as much knowledge you can from them. Do that instead of being offensive and instead of, looking at them in a negative light. They are who they are, but we don't have to be like them, right? We are who we are. We're amazing people. We're very perseverant. We are very, very patient. We're very cordial. So maintain that. Okay. Now you'll also have people who are very passive. Any task you give them, anything you tell them, they have absolutely no interest. They will not give you their opinion. They will not, mention what is going on their mind. They'll just keep everything to themselves, and they're very disinterested in all what you tell them. Such people who have no interest in, listening to you and adding any value to what you're telling them are called the passives. So what do you do with people like that? Don't be offensive. It's better you don't delegate too much important responsibility to such people, and try to talk to them and try to bring them to your, your kind of thinking. Talk to them, be friendly, get them out of their cocoon, because you don't know why they're passive. Maybe they are people who are shy. Try to help them break their cocoon. Help them. You can do it, right? And there are some people who are dictators. They just command you and the work has to be done. There is no two ways about it, right? So you will find a lot of bosses sometimes who are like dictators, but try to keep them as happy as you can. You just stick to your role, you stick to your responsibilities. Just make sure that whatever is assigned to you is done fruitfully and successfully. Don't give anybody a chance to point out and say, hey, you know what, I gave you this and you're still not done with it. Don't give them that impression or that chance, right? Then there are always these yes people. I tell you, these are the most dangerous people. Anything you ask them, they're like, yes, boss, yes, yes. How's this idea? What do you think about that? Oh, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's wow, wow, wow. So what do you do with such people? Don't go and ask such people for very important opinions, because you will only get a yes, and it could be a very, it may not be a very genuine yes. You got it? They might just be trying to flatter you. They might just, they're just trying to be nice, or probably they don't have that in-depth knowledge or that capacity to take a decision and tell you, no, you know what, this should be changed a little here. This is what it should look like. So these yes people may not be the best of people to be delegated huge responsibilities to. So don't become that yes man, in your organization. Where things that you feel are not right, please voice it. You should have that capacity to walk up and say, no, you know what, this is how it should be. All right. Then there are always these no people. Anything you ask them, the first reaction is no. We have a lot of people like that. So don't worry or bother too much about these people. Just let them be. Just stick to your work. Be cordial, be dignified. Don't go and argue. Don't fight with any of these kind of people. Right? You maintain your dignity and your grace. Now, finally, what is it that we have learned through these few minutes or over the last 1 hour about in this whole session? What have we learned? We have learned that etiquettes vary across countries and industries. Different countries have different cultures. See, if I were to walk up to a lady in Saudi Arabia, I cannot just walk up to her, hug her, shake hands and things like that, especially men, because they have a different culture. They don't believe in extending any kind of, greetings which happen to be very physical, right? So you have to be very careful where you go and how you greet people. Every culture has its own mannerisms, its own etiquettes. So you have to respect that. Please respect cultural etiquettes. At the same time, if you go to Turkey, there might be people who, if they really like you, they give you a peck on your cheek. That's how they meet each other, right? So that's their culture. We have a different culture in different parts of the world. Understand the culture before you express yourself before them. Understand them. And you have to be very, very receptive. What is the meaning of receptive? Whatever is being told to you, whatever is being said to you, absorb it in a positive light. Tell people that, yes, you are listening to them responsibly. You're taking whatever they're saying in a very responsible manner. So all these things are very, very important. Give the other person a feeling that, yes, they are wanted, they are needed, they are inclusive, right? All those things are very, very important. Another important thing, which I'm again coming back to, keep your language simple, short and sweet, as we say. Your tone of voice and intonation should be very, very perfected. Whatever you're trying to express has to be expressed in the right manner, right? So when you are expressing anger, if I'm very, very angry at the other person, and can I go to the other person and say, I love you in a very angry manner? Can I go to my son and say, Arvind, I love you? Can I do that? No, doesn't match, right? So you have to ensure your voice modulation, your intonation, and the way you speak to people is perfected. It is very, very important. The other person should be able to hear you. Do you know, people, I have had a couple of experiences where I had to reject the candidate. I had to reject the candidate over an interview table just because I was not able to hear them properly. These things happen. the people had such low voice modulation that you just could not make out what they were saying. Despite repeated requests for them to speak louder, they just would not. So there was no way for me to accept their candidature. I had to say a very short, sweet bye-bye to them. So make sure you're heard, your voice modulation is perfect. The way you say it comes with all the expression that is desired of that particular situation. And officially, I would say maintain a very professional tone. Don't get too personal, like I said. I repeat myself, don't get too personal with people in an official environment. Your attitude should always, ooze of confidence. Look confident. The way you walk, the way you talk to people, it should be reflective of the very, very confident, positive person that you are. Let it flow out of your personality. Let people see it in you, right? So express that confidence. There's nothing that you can fear. That there's nothing that you have to be afraid of, And if you have any questions or queries, please make sure you go out and ask. You don't have to hesitate. It's better not to have half the information and do something incorrectly than go walk up and get the right information from the people around you, right? Now, I have a simple question for all of you. What kind of a person are you? Do you communicate well? Do other people understand exactly what you want to convey? Or do you think you would benefit socially and professionally if you improve your language skills, right? Okay, people, I have again started getting a lot of questions on the link. Here it is for you before I move on to the next slide. This is a link. This is your ticket to the corporate world, people. A turnaround to your career. Be a part of this big challenge for over 30 hours. Be a part of this challenge and empower yourself. That's exactly the registration link where you can go register yourself. It's a very small token fee which you're going to invest in yourself. It is only rupees 3,800, which is less than $50. Go out there, register on the link given. I'll repeat the link. It is manage.uot.edu.in/fee payment. I hope you got that link now. Yes, I still have a lot of people asking me for the link. So here it is, my friends. Okay. All right. Now, before we get to that, I just want you to answer these few questions. What kind of a person are you? Are you a passive person? Are you a dominating person? Are you a warm person? Are you a friendly person? Are you a person the other people would like to actually follow? Are you that leader? Are you that mentor the whole world would look up to? Do you communicate well? Are you able to express yourself? Are you able to articulate and express yourself well? Are you the kind of person who people love to sit and listen to? Do you communicate well? Do you understand what is being told to you? Do you follow the language perfectly? Are you able to express what you're thinking perfectly? Now, those are all questions, people, that I want you to ask yourself. If you feel there is a concern with any of those questions that I have put up there, let me tell you, people, these sessions will make a world of difference to all these aspects that we have mentioned over this one session. So please go out there, be a part of our 30-hour session, and trust me on God, all of you are going to come back and thank us for those 30 hours that you've spent with us. And I really, really look forward to all of you being a part of this session. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions out there. Any questions, people? So with that, we come to the end of this particular session. And I would like to hand the stage over to either Dr. Gaurav or Dr. Reema Singh.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so
This
much.
module, we will cover actually more than what we expecting. It is a effective communication skills, like business etiquettes, business communication skill, and you also mention in your whole of the module about the lifestyle. You can say it a life skill also. You can cover all the aspect of the personality, either leader leadership skills, team management, group dynamic, stress management, and crisis management. All over the part of your personality, you cover all the things in this module. Ma'am, we got like a various messages through student participant side. Like I just announced some of their name. Rita Divedi. She told like such events should be organized
Yeah.
more and more. She appreciate our event and she told that such events should be organized more and more. She appreciated us. Esther Dipti, very good webinar, ma'am. She told that like another person who says that this event is very informative session. Thank you so much, Praveena ma'am. Archa Uni, इन्होंने ऐसा बोला है, this is one of the very informative session. Pani Machgadi, she told like it's a very informative, wonderful session. Thank you, ma'am. Lots of like messages come from participant side. Ma'am, thank you so much for giving us such informative, interactive session, and we think like it is an amazing session. The module designed for a online certification course is very short, as well as give us much information about the communication, as well as whole of the business etiquettes and lifestyle of your personality. Agreed, ma'am? Right, ma'am. It's a very wonderful session, ma'am. Now we will go ahead and take some time for a question now, because there is a various queries regarding this session, ma'am. For that, I just want to introduce one of the names, Saurabh Mulani. He want to ask about like, does language have an impact on etiquette? Can I repeat?
Yes, Saurabh, yes, I got the question, ma'am. Saurabh, that's a very, very important question that you asked. You know, does language have an important on etiquettes? Yes. You see, you cannot segregate language and etiquettes at all. These are two things which come together. It's like, for example, if you're having a curry is basically, it has a lot of ingredients blended together, put together, and that's when it turns out as whatever it turns out as, right? Similarly, you cannot separate language and etiquettes. Your entire personality is a blend of these two things put together. आपकी लैंग्वेज और आपकी जो पर्सनालिटी है, आपके जो मैनरिज्म्स है, आप जिस तरह अपने आप को कंडक्ट करते हैं, ये सारी चीजें घुल मिलके आपकी एक पर्सनालिटी या कैरेक्टर बनता है. So these two things cannot be separated. These are absolutely put together in one socket. You know, they come just together. They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. So it's not just good enough to be able to speak well. It is also very important to conduct yourself in an appropriate manner in whatever situation you are in. So these are two things which come together, which are blended. In दो चीजों को हम अलग नहीं कर सकते. ये एक ही साथ ही साथ चलते हैं.
Very true, ma'am. Very true. Actually, you want to say like there is a correlation between language and etiquettes.
Very much. Absolutely. Right. These go together.
I think like sort of have got sufficient reply from ma'am's side. How there is like ma'am, there is one more question which is asked by Ashok Chaudhary. Okay. He want to know about ma'am, like how important is non-verbal communication in a workplace.
Okay, now this is also very, very important. See, just like verbal communication, it's not just about writing emails, it's not just about speaking to colleagues. You know, more than what you speak, you know, your body language, your eye contact, the way you shake hands, all these things, you know, your body talks louder than your words, let me tell you. So it's very, very important to be dignified and the way you maintain it. Your non-verbal communication is basically what? The way you talk, look in the eye when you talk to a person, the way your body responds when you listen to something or when you're trying to say something. All these are indications of what your mood is at that given point, you know, when you're talking to a person, right? You know, your body language can never lie. If somebody were to ask you a question and you answer with your arms crossed, that means you are either lying or hiding something. See, these are all small cues which the other person, if the person understands body language, will be able to take it from you, right? So ensure that your body language or your non-verbal communication is in sync, or it is parallel to the way to what you say. These two things have to go hand in hand, because whatever you say will ultimately have to match with what your body speaks. These two cannot be separated, because when there is no correlation between your body language and what you're saying, then the other person knows that you are not genuine. You're not trustworthy. So don't give people that impression. So both these things are important. All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Like we believe that our postures take a very significant at our workplace.
Very,
Actually,
very,
it
absolutely.
reflects your whole of the personality, not only at a workplace, everywhere. We everywhere the posture, the personality reflects everything about your whole of the scenario right now. Next,
Exactly.
ma'am, one
The
of
kind
the
of
more
person.
questions. Yeah.
Yes.
One of more question. Deepak want to know about, like, will this program cover all aspects in 30 sessions? He want to
Oh
know.
yes, Deepak, I am so happy you asked me that question, Deepak. See, you might think that we are only talking in terms of 30 hours, what are we going to cover in these 30 hours? In these 30 hours, trust me, we are not going to, elongate any of the topics too much. We will give you exactly what you need to succeed. These modules are so well designed, I tell you, that every session that you are a part of is a nugget of great value to you. You're going to take back home something priceless in those 30 hours. And we are not going to make the sessions very long, very boring. No, it is very short, very crisp, and we are giving you exactly what you need. We are not going to waste any of your time, because I know none of us has the time. So in this given short span, we're trying to cover every aspect of your career, of your work life, of your personality that is important to help you become what you deserve to become in the near future. So everything gets covered in a very, very beautifully, covered capsule or covered module for you. So don't worry about it. These 30 hours will definitely turn around your life. So just be there with us and we will take care of the rest. Yeah.
Right, ma'am. Right, ma'am. This course will fulfill various aspects of personality skills, and you can say in a short term that is a portfolio of the communication skill.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. Beautifully put.
Yes.
Right.
One
Right.
more question from ma'am, like Amit Sharma. Amit Sharma want to know about, like, will I be able to improve my skills in just 30 days? Actually, this is
Of
what about
very good question. This was asked by Vikas, is it? Vikas Sharma.
Amit
Okay,
Sharma.
Vikas.
Amit Sharma.
Amit Sharma. Okay,
Yeah,
Amit,
he
thank
want to
you.
know.
Thank you so much for asking that question. ये बहुत ही अपने ये लाख टके का सवाल पूछा है. Yes, of course, I guarantee that these 30 hours of session will definitely make a lot of changes in the kind of personality you have right now and who you become. Yes, काफी सारी चीजें ऐसी हैं जो हमें लगता है कि हमें आती हैं या हम समझते हैं, लेकिन ना हमें स्कूल में किसी ने सिखाया है, ना किसी ने हमको बताया है अभी तक. तो ये सारी चीजें सीखने का सबसे बढ़िया जरिया है ये जो प्रोग्राम हम आपके सामने लाए हैं. और सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है, really people, I would love to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Ankur, for his Dr. Anshul for his great initiative. This is a very expensive program, people. I'm not joking. This is a very, very expensive program. The trainers come very, very expensive. But trust me, he sat down with us and he pinned down the program to just 3,800 rupees. And when we asked him, what benefit is it going to give, bring the college? He simply said, we're not looking at any benefit here. All we are looking at is how to empower our students and the people around us to get to the career that they deserve to be in. And I really salute Dr. Surana for that great initiative. It talks a lot about the kind of personality you are. You have a big heart, and I can see you really, really love your students, and this is an amazing opportunity. People go out there and take it. And मुझे नहीं लगता ऐसा कोई मौका और ऐसी एक thought किसी और management से आज तक हमारे सामने आई है, and I really salute him for his big heart. This is very, very indicative of how much he loves the students, such me, and I really appreciate this great initiative. I would personally like to thank Dr. Anshul for this great initiative. You are a wonderful personality. I have no words to express. You're not looking at anything but purely the benefit that this will bring to the students at an international level. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Definitely, ma'am, because it gives not only fee is a very nominal fee. Definitely, and
away, as
this
you call
fee,
it.
right, and this fees gives a huge enrichment to our skill. So that
Absolutely.
amount is a very nominal for upgrading
Yes,
us.
yes.
This
I think we
is
spend a lot more in buying a dress, or
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. One more question, ma'am. Renu want to ask, ma'am, like, what is the next process after submission of fees?
Yeah. Okay. Renu, we are planning to begin these sessions without stopping for too many days. There won't be very much gap. In fact, we are planning to begin this program, if possible, by the coming week itself, where we will spend that quality time with all of you. And you can contact the people, the number we will give you in the end. You can contact the person for any queries. But once your fee payment is done, the institution will come back to you. We will get in touch with you with the schedule and how we are going to run this program. The entire schedule would be sent to you over email, and we would be in touch very, very shortly. And I think, like I said, we are planning to begin this program at the earliest without any delay, so that you can actually empower yourself without any delay. All what you need to know will come to you at the earliest possible. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Like, ma'am, one of the question Neha Jain want to ask you, like, how many hours consumed per day for this module?
Okay. That's a good question you asked. We will be spending, our trainers would spend about 3 hours with you per session, and you will have 30 hours total. That means you will be with us for 10 days. 10 days and 3 hours each day of the 10 days, so that all, boils down to 30 hours of sessions with us.
Okay. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I think it looks like we have covered all of our question answer round. It's like the question and answer round session would be completed now. Ma'am, really, this is very informative and interactive session. I want to thank you for bottom of my heart for getting precious time from your busy schedule and provide us excellent informative and interactive session, which will definitely improve business etiquettes of the student, and they can build up and enhance their personality lifestyle through be a part of this course structure. Definitely, ma'am.
Absolutely.
And now, ma'am, with this series, I would like to invite Dr. Gaurav Jain, professor, co-moderator, with his kind words to sum up this session. Ma'am, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, ma'am.
And I thank all the audience from the bottom of my heart for being there with us through this session. Thank you so much, people. You are an amazing audience, I tell you. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you. I would like to thank Dr. Reema Singh. Praveena ma'am, fantastic session, fabulous session, outstanding.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge. Really nice question and answer session. Ma'am, it was a great session and outstanding presentation from your side. So delightful, ma'am, so delightful.
Thank you.
Ma'am, really, this is time to roll up sleeves and learn the art of communicating in English, because this is the ticket to a great career.
Yes,
it was fabulous session of webinar, and we found it extremely helpful and interesting.
Thank
Ma'am,
you,
I
sir.
appreciate you very much for guiding us that how to achieve good communication skills.
Yes, yes,
We do hope that all the participants must have enjoyed our two-day webinar on impact of communication on career.
yes, yes, hopefully, yes.
Being able to communicate effectively is one of the most important life skills to learn. Communication means as transferring information to produce greater understanding. It can be done
Yes,
vocally through verbal exchanges, through written
yes,
media such as books, websites, and magazines,
absolutely.
visually using graphs, charts, and maps, and non-verbally body language, gestures, pitch of voice, and tone. All of these means of communication are essential soft skills that are vital for a successful career. Developing your communication skills can help all aspects of your life, from your professional life to social gathering and everything in between. The ability to communicate information accurately, clearly, and as intended is a vital life skill and something that should not be overlooked. It's never too late to work on your communication skills, and by doing so, you may well find that you improve your quality of life. Friends, on the first day, discussion was made regarding the importance of effective communication skills with the audience by highlighting crucial aspects of business communication and how it impacts the career and progress of an individual. The importance of learning these skills and applying them to real time situations was focused on this session. On the day two, I mean today, in continuation of the series of day one, a nice personality development session on the importance of effective communication was conducted. The webinar series started by University of Technology. It not only imparts the knowledge about the latest trends and technology that can make the working more convenient, but also enhances the skills of the participants and make them job ready for the future times. Our previous webinar series received a very good response with more than 4,500 registrations. Previous webinar on Be Future Leader post COVID-19 took place on 3rd and 4th June 2020. The live session was taken by great personalities, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma sir, Pro Chancellor, Vidya University, Mumbai, and Dr. Praveena Nair ma'am, Cambridge University Center Head, Kerala, along with Mr. Shan Gopi sir. Faculty Development Program on ICT Tools for Effective Teaching Learning took place on 12th and 13th June. Professor Vimal Gerald sir, Professor Department of Computer Science, and Joseph Collins Tiruchapalli was the key speaker in the Faculty Development Program, and he highlighted the importance of the ICT tools in carrying out an effective digital learning process. One more previous webinar on future aspects of computer science and engineering. This webinar was organized on 26th and 27th June, and the key speakers for the event were Naren Singh Nirvansar from Dr. Scars Private Limited and Dr. R.K. Bayal sir, head of the head of the Department of Computer Science, Rajasthan Technical University, Kota. The speakers discussed the scope of computer science engineering in the future times and how technology can assist during times like the corona pandemic. One more webinar on the topic of Let's Talk About Coronavirus Outbreak in association with Eternal Hospital. This webinar was organized on 30th June 2020. Webinar was based on infection prevention and control for COVID-19 with focus on private health during this pandemic time. Dr. Alok Mathur sir, Senior Consultant and Coordinator, Internal Medicine and Director, Preventive Cardiology, Eternal Hospital, Jaipur, personally solved our COVID-related queries and provided us practical guidance essential for COVID-19 scenario. Friends, the webinar series are designed to provide support, advice, and practical steps that you can take during the coronavirus outbreak to help your startup thrive. This is the need of the hour. The objective of this webinar, the objective of the webinar is to help and deal with problems that you are facing in pandemic situation. Deepshikha Group will keep organizing such events, so please be with us. I do hope that participants must have got good knowledge with the help of these programs and webinars. Now, this is time to invite Dr. Ankit Gandhi, sir, Research Dean, University of Technology, to present the word of thanks. Sir, please.
Should I start? Thank you so much, Dr. Praveena Nair, ma'am, the speaker of today's session. She is center head of Cambridge Language Assessment Center, Kerala. I would also like to put on record our sincere gratitude and thanks to the chairman of University of Technology, Dr. Prem Surana, sir. Would also like to thank Dr. Anshu Surana, a young and dynamic professional who is committed to transform the present day youth. We are also thankful to all the participants for their enthusiasm.
Yes.
We are also thankful to all our colleagues here and the support staff for making this 2 days program a success. Well, participants, as we all know, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. And Dr. Nair has made it very clear about the process of how the communication takes place, what are the barriers in communication, and how effective and skilled communication takes place. Well, if you just communicate, you can just get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can definitely do miracles. So it is very, very important topic for each one of us to understand the difference between just speaking and communicating. And as we know about the future and the industry requirement as well, most of the industries that are visiting the campus for the recruitment purpose, they are putting a lot of emphasis upon good communication skills. So even on the basis of communication, students are getting selected in the companies nowadays. So communication, the human connection, is the key to personal and professional success. Well, we are very happy with the sheer number of participants engaged in creating a better future through a series of webinars that at University of Technology, Jaipur, we are organizing. A record number of participants joined in this session, as Dr. Gaurav has mentioned about the numbers as well. We look forward to seeing you next time when we will put extra effort into making our next program even more useful and more exciting. So thank you so much, all the participants. Thank you so much, Dr. Nair, for sparing your valuable time. We feel honored and we are privileged to have you with us today. And we look forward to remain in touch with you. And I'm sure all the participants have benefited a lot through these sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.